This week's episode was brought to you by Sebastian Shepard, Daniel Anderson, Pepsaholic Dream, David Deal, Cordell, Miasha Vincino, KP, and Joshua D. Rooney. Thank you, Sebastian Shepard, Daniel Anderson, Pepsaholic Dream, David Deal, Cordell, Miasha Vincino, KP, and Joshua D. Rooney. It's with the generous support of listeners just like you that helps our intrepid team of psychic researchers stay loaded on enough carrot juice from our hydroponic garden of ancient cognition-enhancing breed of cyber carrots to accurately predict the location and speed of particles in the Large Hadron Collider so we can accurately predict when the next Hellgate will be open so we can finally get an exclusive interview with Fidel Castro. If you'd like to help us exorcise the ghosts of Fidel Castro or just hear the second half of this episode, then please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you the second half of this episode, but our entire library of extended episodes. If you subscribe within the next 4 seconds, I'll even send you a 5x5 high-quality vinyl, super adhesive gourmet designer sticker of our Big Bunny Baphomet cover art guaranteed to moisten the undergarments of all who gaze upon it. But that's not all. You'll even get the secret keys to our Discord server where we discuss the new Twin Peaks DLC for the upcoming PC release of Bloodborne and how we're going to steal it from the dimension next to ours. If you enjoy the free show just fine, but would rather save your $5 for the good bottle of tomato sauce, then please consider giving us a like, subscribe, or share on your social media platform of choice. If you're as suspicious of the algorithm as we are, sharing the episode with a friend who also likes strange, esoteric topics is an enormous help. On the other hand, if you'd like to show enough to throw money at some of our problems, check out the $20 tier for a monthly tarot reading from yours truly. They're pretty fun. If you're already subbed at the $20 tier or higher, spam my messages on whatever platform you can find me, and we'll find a comfortable time for both of us to do a tarot reading, in case you weren't sure how to do it. On this week's episode, we are joined once again by our favorite guest host, the powerful Tim Hacker, the one and only creator of the highly entertaining and informative Cryptic Chronicles Podcast, crypticchronicles.com. With Tim as our guide, we explore the claims of Dr. Ellis Silver, the ones he makes in his book, Humans Are Not From Earth. Could his claims be true? We discuss and even debate a number of the compelling arguments he makes, including humanity's problematic relationship to the sun, the magic of melanin, what happened to our fur anyway, why we have so much of it on our genitals, our strange immune systems, if humans were meant to eat meat, why kids hate vegetables, and what our home planet is really like. In the extended edition of the show, we go further down the rabbit hole and discuss when we probably arrived on Earth, other ancient humanoids, how we wiped them out, why our backs hurt all the time, the irregularity of the human circadian rhythm, our lack of natural defenses, and how incredibly alien the human gestation cycle is. Why can't babies hold up their heads anyways? If you enjoyed this one, please come back next week for part 2. Thank you, and enjoy the show. Well, I was researching this week. I learned that evolution has its hands in everyone's genes.
Yeah, it sure does.
I also learned there's a scientific term for aquatic mammals losing their fur through evolution.
Oh?
It's called whale pattern baldness.
Oh.
Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon men are just so fit and strong and sexy. No homo.
I like that one.
Did you know that Neanderthals love partying? That's why they're always out clubbing. So a gorilla is reading. He's holding a Bible in one hand and a book in the other. So what you doing, gorilla? A guy says. Gorilla replies, I'm trying to decide if I'm my brother's keeper or my keeper's brother.
Hey.
Oh, no.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Whole Rabbit, where we don't just speculate if human beings are grown as a sort of disposable container for genetic material and glandular secretions to be enjoyed like sensuous, rapture-inducing pink milkshakes by the bloodthirsty amphibious corporate space overlords. Nay, we raise our pinkies with sophisticated flourish while sipping tea and making highly academic scientifical inquiries into the fringes of archaeology, human biology, and evolutionary psychology to prove once and for all that humans are not from Earth. Or maybe they are. Stick around, find out. I'm your host, Hack Rabbit, also known as Luke Madrid. I'm joined this week by the tamer of toroidal pterodactyls, Mari-sama.
Fly, my pretties, fly, fly.
The Malthusian meat suit, Malachor 5, is MIA, but he will be back soon. He's on a secret mission. Don't ask questions. But we are joined this week by the holy hexer of hokum, Heka Astra.
Hello.
And returning from the abyss unfathomable, once again, we are joined this week by the maestro of mystery himself, Mr. Tim Hacker, the illustrious creator of the Cryptic Chronicles Podcast, available at crypticchronicles.com, for yet another collaborative episode where he wrote 90% of the contents this week, and probably next week too. Thank you, Mr. Tim Hacker. It's always an honor to have you on the show.
Hey, hello. Good to be here. Did you know that Neanderthals are dicks?
What do you mean they're dicks? Why would you say such mean things about our ancestral cousins?
It's because they're always stuck up. That's
It's pretty good.
Let's just say everything we know about Neanderthals is wrong.
Now, pleasantries aside, we're going to let Heka Astra out her cage on this episode, so I hope you're prepared. If anything, even slightly smells of woo, Heka will pounce on you like a panther on PCP, you know, to play devil's advocate.
I'm taking bets. Get your bets in.
I couldn't help it. It's not that I'm entirely opposed to the idea that humans are not from Earth, but there are certain scientific things that I might speak up about.
Because you're a nerd!
Well, yeah, and also there's just all kinds of stuff to question. Like, of course, there's stuff you should question. Always be skeptical, you know?
Well, I think a lot of times when people, because this is a lot of the materials from a book that you read, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of times if people are trying to get across a certain narrative, they tend to have a bit of confirmation bias. So hopefully if we present both what the book says and maybe other facts, it can leave the listeners to make up their own minds. But I'm not afraid to play devil's advocate on this one.
Absolutely. And if you go into the book, you can also see that there's all kinds of counter arguments that he does go into detail about, and he does debunk a lot of the common ones that he gets questioned on as well. I just left a lot of that out because, you know, I think that you guys want to hear more what the stories this guy's trying to tell. You want to hear his gist of like how he analyzed and came to the conclusion that humans are not from Earth.
And to be fair, quite a bit of the facts and science surrounding this whole topic changes ever so many years when there's a new discovery or something else is learned, and it's not all written in stone. We don't really know everything about ancient humanity. We don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of a leap of faith. Of course, there's evidence and stuff to back it, but I think there's a certain gap of lack of knowledge or historical record. Science is always changing. That's the whole point. That's how the scientific method works. So the fact that he's like going out on a limb here is not to say that it's completely worthless. There's probably some good takeaways in it. It reminds me of Terence McKenna's stoned ape theory of how we gain consciousness by the monkeys were eating mushrooms and then they evolved into humans by doing that and having a symbiosis with the fungus. Like, that is a conjecture. And there's also lots of people out there that have debunked or proved that wrong with their own set of facts. So it's kind of a take it or leave it type deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, totally. And when you think about it too, if you're breaking down anything logically, the base of any logical deduction starts with assumption.
Right. The only good assumption is to assume you don't know anything.
To this end, our main source for this episode comes from Ellis Silver, PhD, and his book, Humans Are Not From Earth, where he has actually accumulated a massive compilation of evidence that is beyond mind-boggling, even paradigm-shifting. But there are many others who have tackled this subject as well, such as Lee Carroll. I don't trust Lee Carroll at all, though, just for the record. But Graham Hancock, on the other hand, is another one of these people, and he's my favorite. There's also Phil Curnow, Susan B. Morgan, Zachariah Sitchin, which I'm sure sounds familiar, and many, many more. Some have called this pantheon of researchers unreliable hacks or crackpots. But, I mean, come on, honestly, this is going to happen to anyone who goes outside the mainstream establishment dogma.
Zachariah Sitchin has never been wrong about one thing, ever. Not once.
Yeah. As any student of history would know, it is only people who go outside the mainstream establishment dogma that actually ever bring revelation and advancement to human civilization. So in truth, propaganda against a researcher, as such, is actually a badge of honor.
That's how I know the moon is hollow and full of lizards.
No duh, that's where the UFOs come from. So the first thing let's start with this evidence that Dr. Silver has for us about why humans are not from Earth is the sun, the very thing that gives life to Earth, right?
Well, yeah.
Well, in his book, book, Humans Are Not From Earth, Ellis Silver begins to reevaluate the evidence regarding one of the most basic things scientists take for granted, and that's the sun. First off, Silver says, if humans evolved on Earth, we are missing one of the most important things to actually thrive on this planet, a working, nictitating membrane.
I think you get one of those if you smoke enough cigarettes. Seriously, though, what is a nictitating membrane? How do you even say it?
I just assume nictitating, but that's probably wrong.
That makes it sound like it's being overly pleasant.
Yeah, nictitating.
Nictitating.
Sounds like you're irritating some guy named Nick.
So, according to Wikipedia, the nictitating membrane, which comes from Latin nictare, which means to blink, is a transparent or translucent third eyelid present in some animals that can be drawn across the eye from the medial canthus to protect and moisten it while maintaining vision. All anura, or tailless amphibians, and some reptiles, birds, and sharks have full nictitating membranes. In many mammals, a small vestigial portion of the nictitating membrane remains in the corner of the eye. Like when a cat closes its eyes and that white membrane comes across when it has lazy, sleepy eyes, that's the vestigial part. Some mammals, like cats, beavers, polar bears, seals, aardvarks, also have the full nictitating membranes. Okay, so cats have a full one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not vestigial in cats.
Okay.
Yeah, if you put your ear up really close to a cat's face when it's falling asleep, you can hear it go like, whoosh. Not really.
It's like a phone cover, but it's for your eyelid.
It has a bunch of awesome things, actually, that I'm kind of jelly that I don't have it. It kind of pisses me off.
Same, but we don't even have a
Yeah.
vestigial one, which...
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
You know the pinky fleshy part on the innermost corners of your eyes towards your nose?
Yeah, like where
Where
your
your
tear
tears
duct
come
is.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your vestigial third.
Yeah, but it doesn't do
Eyelid.
anything cool.
Maybe if you like squeeze really hard, it'll pop out a little bit.
Just freak people out. That would be pretty cool.
It does help to lubricate our eyes.
We still need eye drops, though. It doesn't do a good job.
So we don't have like a cool one that does all the cool stuff that it does for animals, though, is Dr. Silver's point. Like you might have noticed that animals don't ever have to shield their eyes from the sun, yet we do. We get stupefied by the sun if it ever shines directly in our eyes, and it damages them as well, even causing blindness if done excessively. Animals, on the other hand, don't have this issue, and that's because of their nictitating membrane. We do have a non-functioning one, as Heka says, the vestigial remnants of this gland in our eyes, though. But natural selection, I guess, at some point, hundreds of thousands to even millions of years ago, just thought we didn't need the cool abilities that the animals have from this, like because of our bright sun. We as Earth dwellers do very much still need this membrane. We could have totally used it. This membrane has even more positive effects for animals too, because it's a natural shield for all kinds of other possible damage that the eye could take.
But we also have more pronounced eyelashes for that.
For the sand?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sand and sun.
That's a good point. According to natural selection, our eyes should have these membranes if we evolved on Earth. It actually suggests that we are from a planet where evolution decided that we didn't need them anymore. But on Earth, I think we totally still need them, and I want them, and I'm jealous and pissed about it.
I feel like they'd be even better if they were prescription membranes, although that might defeat the entire purpose.
That'd be so cool.
It's the telescoping eyes that you want. The membranes, they're supposed to be blurry, I think. Imagine, instead of rolling your eyes at someone, you just deploy your nictitating membrane.
Maybe Homo sapiens sapiens are secretly from inside the Earth, from a subterranean cave civilization that never saw the sun. Well, there's some argument that other advanced primates on Earth are also missing this membrane, but that's not necessarily a good argument. Here's why. It's because those primates basically exclusively live in the shade.
They're
like
shady.
in trees. Yeah, like for millions of years, dude. So like they don't need that crap. Us humans, on the other hand, I'm sure you know we have always spent an insane amount of time under the sun throughout our entire existence. We are just natural explorers and always have been. We've always been moving around constantly under the sky. It doesn't make sense that we don't have this membrane. Even Neanderthals had natural, biological protection and crap for their eyes.
Ray-Bans.
So it is true that many mammals, birds, and reptiles do have that nictitating membrane, but it isn't actually a necessity for thriving on this planet. As you mentioned, most primates don't have this membrane, but it's not that just most primates don't have it. It's actually so uncommon for primates to have this third eyelid. There seems to be only one species that does have it, and that's the Calabar potto, and it kind of looks a bit like a kinkajou. And it's not just primates that lack this. There's other... it's not just primates that...
I definitely respect that name.
Kinkajou.
Oh God, don't say that at a furry
Kinkajou.
con.
Kinkajou.
That's my new spirit
Okay, but
animal.
also, Luke, are you okay?
Okay.
Kinkajou.
I choose you.
It's also
Tim, stop it.
It's also not just primates that lack this. There's other mammals that also don't have this. So it's not a necessity to be able to thrive on the planet.
If you come from the view that humans are hybrids with aliens, such as Zechariah Sitchin and his work on the Anunnaki, the aliens that spliced us together didn't take into account humanity's main attribute, that we're wanderers. We have to wander under the glory of a potent sun for our biology, to the point it is damaging and debilitating.
You ever walk into a room and forget why you came in there?
Yes.
Boom. Our eyes are not adapted for potent forms of light, and that includes artificial light. Just a tiny little bit of artificial light totally screws up your pineal gland and your sleep habits. Other than a couple primates who exclusively evolved in heavily shaded trees, all the other animals on the planet have natural biological functions to protect them while humans don't. And like Heka said, this includes all kinds of other stuff like eyelashes, heavy brows. Ellis suggests in his book that this is because we currently find ourselves in an alien environment. When compared to our natural selection from our ancient past, Africans in particular suffer from exposure, with 400,000 becoming blind yearly from cataracts caused by the sun. In fact, the continent of Africa actually has the largest population of blind people in the world. In fact, 50% of the world's blindness is from cataracts caused by the sun. And despite what some people believe as a myth, darker eye color does not protect against cataracts. Oddly enough, actually, blue eyes offer more protection, which is still unexplainable.
That's crazy because they
Yeah.
proliferated at the poles, like the cold areas.
I know, that's what I thought when I was reading this stuff, but it's theorized that it's like the ultraviolet in the blue eyes that protects better from the sun, and this is because the reflection of the sun off the snow that caused that
'cause
evolution.
You can get snow blindness like really easily.
Yeah, like sometimes it's weird because the sun's even brighter in the snow.
Or like
It's like-
if you go to a beach and there's lots and lots of sand, like it's blinding to walk across that in the,
Yeah,
in the heat
totally.
of the day.
I had no idea that the world's population of Africa had the most amount of blind people. Did you guys know that?
No.
That's crazy.
That's how they discovered coconuts.
Looking up to the trees. Oh my gosh.
No, they'd bump into the trees, it would fall on their head.
Oh, bro. And it would open so they could eat it.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of bizarre to me because we always think that darker eyes are better protection, but that's not necessarily true. And it's weird too because the blue eyes came from just one person 7,000 years ago. It was just a single genetic mutation.
So you're saying people with blue eyes are freaks of nature?
Yes.
Damn straight I am.
One of the few times in evolution where it's really quick mutation.
I'm definitely going to debate this because it is actually the opposite. Lighter colored eyes, like blue, tend to be more sensitive to the sun. And that's actually because of melanin. So just like in skin, melanin affects the color or pigment, and darker skin tends to be less sensitive to the sun. That's because melanin blocks UV rays better. So just like our skin, eyes evolved in a similar way, which to me indicates climate changes and moving out of the sun into the shade, depending on the earth.
So if that's true, the blue-eyed people were living in caves.
I mean, it's a pretty well-known fact. You can ask optometrists. It does have to do with melanin. It doesn't make you immune having darker colored eyes, but it does help.
Ellis Silver then uses evidence to refute arguments made against him in the book. So if you want to go check out the book, it's all right there. Such as arguments that lots of people spend most of their lives inside.
That's what Mountain Dew is.
On the contrary, people in tropics have the same issues as homebodies from first world countries. Shades of darker skin do give better protection, but everyone is vulnerable no matter how dark they are. And sadly, it's harder to detect it on Black people, and they die more from skin cancer because you don't see it on their skin.
They can burn too. You just don't, it doesn't look red.
It also generally takes a little bit longer, but our problems with the sun are getting worse over time because of our ozone layer.
Ultraviolet light affects everyone on Earth, and we just never adapted correctly to deal with it.
I think another thing to consider is that UV indexes are not the same everywhere on Earth. Like Africa and Mexico, they have very high UV indexes. I'm a pasty ass white girl, and I turn lobster red in 10 minutes in the summer sun. So melanin is not a superfluous adaptation, and it is proven to offer more protection, but it doesn't mean that you're immune to UV radiation, but it can make a big difference.
Every other species on Earth, though, does not have this problem, which is pretty trippy. There are exceptions, such as nocturnal creatures, cave species, or fish, but every other species on the planet that walks under the sun, like us, is not damaged by the sun as we are. According to Ellis, and science, I guess technically, we should have heavy fur or even scales of some sort if we truly evolved on Earth, especially since we are wanderers and explorers naturally.
We're soft, squishy creatures who wear our genitals in the front. It is a bit strange.
I mean, how long were we hunter-gatherers? Well, in order to hunt and gather, you gotta move around, and that means a lot of exposure to the sun. We would be better off if we had protection of some sort, but we don't, which spits in the eye of natural selection. The caustic influence the sun has over our bodies suggests that this is not our natural environment.
That's why we invented Nike.
Just do it. Another odd evolutionary aspect of humans is that despite the sun killing us, we absolutely crave it. Humans naturally seek out spending time in the sun as we suck up essential vitamins to our skin. I'm sure you know. Vitamin D, that's where it comes from. Not all of it, but a good source of it. Why would we be evolutionarily programmed to seek something that harms our survival? This natural instinct to seek the sun suggests that our real home environment didn't have much direct sunlight, wherever it is that we truly came from. The whole vitamin D research is fascinating, but it basically boils down to the fact that our bodies don't efficiently produce vitamin D from our sun.
It's hard to spot, but in the Truman Show, you can see that Truman has to take enormous supplements of vitamin D. You can see it on his kitchen table.
50% of Americans are vitamin D deficient, and it's even harder to produce efficiently with darker skin. However, this efficiency can and is augmented by diet. In fact, many researchers have concluded that if you have the right diet, sunscreen isn't really necessary no matter what shade of skin one has. There's always exceptions. Still, the most efficient way to get vitamin D is sunlight, which is bizarre because the source of our vitamin D kills us and ages us faster. The conclusion is our biology does not quite sync up with our sun. The theory that corrects this anomaly is that humans came from a planet with lower levels of UV radiation and less direct sunlight, but it also suggests that wherever we came from had far more stationary seasons or no seasons at all.
That's because we came from a giant fish tank.
Technically we did come up from a giant fish tank if we come from a Gnostic point of view. We're all just fish in a tank, rats in a cage.
Despite all my stank, I'm still just a fish in a tank.
Nice.
Anyway, a quick note here is any animals that in modern times do have skin issues, because I'm sure if you're familiar with animals, some animals do have issues with the sun, but this is because of man-made breeding and it's not natural. Also, animals like elephants who do have skin and not fur or scales have super duper thick skin and also live near water holes where they regularly cover themselves in mud to help keep cool.
And sometimes hippies and homeless people do the same thing.
Next, that brings us to fur and unsuitable biology. See, there's the question about why humans don't have fur to protect us from the sun. This is relatively up in the air and still much is unexplained. For instance, humans and their pubic hair, which isn't found on any other mammals or even primates.
Not unless we put it there.
Save it for the private chat.
Have you ever noticed the hair on a human grows in the opposite place it does on a gorilla?
Oh, yeah.
Why is that?
Because they're from Earth and we're not.
It's weird.
So our hair on our head is for UV protection, right? But it's also for the wicking effect of sweat. Our armpit hair and genital hair also emit pheromones. So everything kind of seems like it has a purpose for the most part.
Did you know that human women naturally have armpit hair?
Yeah, and their farts smell like flowers.
Girls don't fart, don't lie.
Or sweat?
Yeah. Oh, and also genital hair, of course, is for cushioning and warmth, just like head hair.
That's why the most expensive pillows use pubic hair.
Well, yo, hear me out though, because the fact that you have hair there and under your pits and in some other places is to not only waft the pheromones farther than they would if they just secreted out of your skin, but it also creates more surface area so the evaporation effect can happen more quick and you can cool down a lot faster.
Yeah, the wicking effect. There's also some weirdos think that we talk to the etheric realm through our hair, which is kind of cool.
We do. That's why Tempur-Pedic uses it for its pillows. They say it's space foam, but we know the truth. Tempur-Pubic is more like it.
But where's the rest of our hair? The theory is that we needed better cooling because of our growing brains. But this doesn't necessarily add up because there are animals who sweat and still have fur. With fur having the wick effect, like I just said, it actually increases the cooling of the skin. You have to remember the whole vitamin D thing I mentioned concerning our skin as well. So maybe we lost the fur to better absorb vitamin D, but that doesn't make sense because I know it sounds good at first, but it doesn't make sense because it would actually hinder our survival cycle because we're damaged by the sun. So maybe natural selection was just kind of being bipolar that day or something.
Nope, just me.
Like, here, you can lose this, but also you're screwed. Haha. Our lack of fur can also be theorized by our real homeworld having consistent warm temperature, but never really any extreme. Not super hot, mind you, just warm.
You know, it sounds nice. It's like California all the time.
I was just about to say, is our home planet California?
Yeah, that's why they originally dropped us off in Africa, but we'll get there. Our skin would be perfect for an environment like that. Just with, stability and a consistent warm temperature, with also a lack of direct sunlight, as well as lower UV radiation levels. Another interesting fact is that there's no archaeological evidence of clothes older than 30K years, and Heka is going to totally say that that's wrong. But that's just what Mr. Silver says, so I say it.
Listen, they were wearing Nikes.
True.
They know that Neanderthal were crafting yarn, so.
So it is definitely debatable.
They were wearing Nikes.
Absolutely. How did they make those Nikes, though?
Foot Locker.
Some scientists believe that Neanderthals went extinct because they never really learned how to use clothes correctly, and the Ice Age was just too brutal. But this is actually pretty debunked for the most part.
If you can't take the cold, get your ass out the freezer. My fofo makes sure all your Neanderthals don't grow.
It's basically proven that they died out 30,000 years ago. So, and we'll get to that. It's pretty cool why. In any case, based on all this, we can put together a picture of what our quote-unquote hypothetical homeworld would be like, when compared to our biology. For one, our planet would not tilt on its axis, or if it did, it would be only a tiny bit, which means that there would be no seasons or extremely steady seasons. The planet's orbit would also be close to circular around a star. There may be a larger star than our sun, or it could be a binary one even. But what remains consistent is that the planet is shrouded in some way, probably by never-ending clouds or some sort of indirect light, something that makes the planet eternally shaded.
Now, as I did my best to research for this episode, I found a hypothesis out there which said that perhaps at one point Saturn was our sun. And there's all this hullabaloo about Earth changing its orbit and getting further away from Saturn. But what if somehow Saturn did used to be the sun and the light was different and that corresponded to a golden age, and then something happened where all the energy got moved to the, I don't know.
That's fascinating. There is evidence that shows mathematically through gravitation that there is some binary relationship in our solar system that we don't quite understand yet. That's why some scientists say that there's something like Planet X out there. Like, we could be binary in some way, and who knows? You could be right. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, what if there's a whole other sun out there? What if that's what Nibiru is?
But if this, hypothetical home planet where we came from is not shrouded in clouds or some other gas, then the star that the planet orbits must be a different type of sun, such as a red or brown dwarf star. These emit like a softer light and UV radiation. Although, it depends on the brown dwarf star, because I don't want to get into that. Never mind. That's off topic. But it's just less likely that it would be one of them because we'd be dead. In any case, it would just be like the same but different. Not too different, but weird. And this would all add up to the evolution of our human biology.
It reminds me a little bit of Mesoamerican myth, where they talk about different ages of the sun and all the humans are wiped out and then they end up being created again. And it's all about who the sun is.
Oh yeah, man. Listen to the end of the second episode on this topic that we're going to do. We definitely get to cool shit like that. So let's move on to Dr. Silver's next little topic. Our bodies don't work right on Earth, and we suffer physical afflictions more than other species. Hypothetically, if humans were dropped off or perhaps crash landed on Earth, the reason it shows us coming out of Africa is because the light levels and warmth are the most consistent on the planet, which would be the least likely place to shock our bodily systems and give us a chance to adapt to the Earth without all dying out like a fish out of water. It was probably incredibly harsh and taxing, but survival would be the most probable when compared to anywhere else on the planet. If we were dropped off by aliens, it's possible that they experimented dropping us off in many locations to experiment where we might best survive, making changes to our genome to better adapt based on the data that they got from the people who died from exposure to Earth, the ones whose bodies were not capable of adapting.
Ever notice how the elites are obsessed with genealogy? Maybe it's because they have the patch notes.
They got the DLC.
But if that's true, why are their eyes so close together? together.
Inbreeding. The nature of humans is to migrate, explore, colonize, and spread. The fact that in our mainstream edition of history, humanity was unable to colonize and spread to many parts of the planet in our early stages backs up the theory that our bodies were not yet suited to environments that they expanded to.
Like Canada.
Absolutely. Otherwise, where there is a way, humans will find it to fulfill our inbuilt instincts to explore, discover, and wonder. That far distant prehistoric humans were only able to move slowly over the earth indicates our adaptation at work. If you look at human history on Earth, it is a story of trying to make the environment suitable to us, when if we evolved here, the planet should have suited us in the first place, just like all the other animal species on Earth.
What lemur doesn't want its own toaster? Do meerkats not desire the luxury of driving a new Corvette? Raccoons would probably smoke cigarettes if we taught them how.
Yeah, raccoons would be totally into meth too.
We just gotta get them jobs, and then they could afford the meth.
Screw that, dude. They already got the bandit mask. Just teach them how to steal.
Make a raccoon a diamond thief.
Money in the bank. We're geniuses.
Put them on the squad with a team of penguins.
There's some funny stuff about penguins later. You'll see. So basically, our bodies just don't do well on Earth. Some people say that cancer is a modern problem, even though they are just ignorant about that topic, because there's actually evidence cancer going back 1.6 million years. But I digress. Just look around you. Basically, everyone you know has some type of issue. Don't get me wrong. I mean, animals have issues too, but not nearly on the same level. And it usually only afflicts animal species in old age. However, the majority of human afflictions are incredibly rare in animals. Not to mention the pain receptor differences. Pain a dog shrugs off as nothing would make a human scream in agony.
I'm going to debate this because having worked in animal rescue, I can say that the vast majority of animals absolutely do not express pain in the same way that we do. And it's not because they shrug it off. It's actually because it's a survival instinct. So maybe we just lost that. Because if you show injury or weakness, you die in the wild. And it's so deeply ingrained that even domesticated animals like dogs still have this trait. They do experience the same levels of pain. Animals have the same pain receptors as humans, but the non-expression of it makes diagnosis notoriously difficult for treating them.
Did you know that animal painkillers are up to 100 times stronger than the ones people take?
Tim, have you ever thought about selling drugs?
Hell yeah, I used to all the time back in the day.
Oh!
So also, they often use stronger painkillers to ensure their effectiveness since it's so difficult to tell if it's working otherwise.
Don't take your dog's painkillers. Don't do it.
Take your horse's painkillers.
Well,
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I mean, no, don't do that either.
I mean, there's rare cases where certain medications will be used for humans as well. So
Animals have it way easier concerning their biological conditions. Humans, on the other hand, have biological issues a million times more than animals. Why do humans suffer so much more than animals? By a ridiculous degree.
Inflation, grocery bills, taxes, public parking, day jobs.
The common fallacy that people try to counter this idea is that these ailments and whatnot, they're all modern afflictions caused by chemicals, microplastics, pesticides, processed food, EM waves, and on and on and on. I could list way more, and I'm sure some are popping into your head as I'm saying this. However, this just isn't the case. There are some modern issues, such as microplastics causing infertility, don't get me wrong, but a lot of modern ailments are not modern at all, and our ancestors suffered from them as well. You know, other than stuff like HIV or other mutations that occurred in recent human history, of course. There's always exceptions. Asthma was even documented by the ancient Egyptians. Cancer has been found on human skeletons going back 120,000 years old, and even found farther back on fossilizations, like I said earlier. So the objective, factual answer is yes. Our ancestors suffered from the same massive amount of afflictions we suffer from as a species in modern times.
They just didn't complain about it. They were tough. They saw cancer as a badge of honor.
Also, like something people don't understand as well is that they're like, oh, everybody in the past all died early. This is incorrect as well, because you could actually live a pretty decent life if you just made it through your youth and you weren't killed by a Neanderthal. It's only like young that people died so much. Anyway, there's all kinds of other objections to this idea. Ellis Silver debunks them all in his book. So if you want to see that stuff, go ahead and check it out. I kind of leave all that stuff out. But basically, humans have a harder time biologically than other species on the planet.
I think also they didn't have the same risk as wild animals where their injuries would make them food for another as easily. And I think this is one major downside to human civilization. There's some historical anthropologists that actually pinpoint the start of human civilization to being the first recorded deliberately mended bones from a Croatian Neanderthal that's 130,000 years ago. So we've been curbing our own evolution for quite a while as far as cheating death from in scenarios that would otherwise kill wild animals.
That's pretty interesting. I didn't know that Neanderthals did that. That's cool. We're one of the only creatures that can heal ourselves. And I mean healing like what Heka's talking about, not like healing from a cut.
Like using tools.
Yeah, or plants and shit. So let's move on to Dr. Silver's next topic. We are not meant to eat meat, even though we can. So humans obviously can eat meat, but it really kind of seems like we shouldn't.
Get ready for a fight.
Now, I'm not here to preach to anyone about anything or push any modern diet fads.
Did you just call me fat?
You're looking pretty good on my side. I see you.
Ooh, thank you, sir.
I do personally happen to be mostly vegetarian, but that's my business, and I don't give a shit what other people choose to eat. It's their life to choose to live how they seem fit. But Ellis gives a convincing argument in the research that physiology does not match that of a carnivore. The way our bodies are shows natural selection pushing us towards a plant-based diet. Even the American Dietetic Association states that for most of human history, we lived on a vegetarian or near vegetarian diet. So those who say that's impossible or deadly in old times and whatnot are just wrong.
Don't they want us to eat bugs, though?
Eat the bugs! You own nothing and eat bugs. One of the main forms of evidence is our teeth, jaw, and digestive system. We are anatomically designed to be herbivores from an evolutionary view on basic comparison with carnivores. Carnivores have claws. Herbivores don't have claws. Meat eaters don't have skin pores and sweat through their tongues, but herbivores sweat through their skin pores. Humans also sweat through skin pores. Meat eaters have sharp teeth and no flat molars for grinding. Herbivores don't have sharp teeth and do have flat back molars for grinding. Humans don't have sharp teeth, and we have flat molars for grinding as well. The intestinal tract doesn't match up either. Our saliva, too, is different from meat eaters, on par with herbivores. Now, obviously, humans can eat meat because we've adapted to through millennia of natural selection. However, it is not a very good adaptation, and we're still working on it even now. That's why humans have to cook meat, or we get sick, or it has to be cured. Meat has to be processed in some way before humans can consume it effectively.
Well, this reminds me of Prometheus stealing the fire from heaven and tricking Zeus into allotting the best cuts of meat for human consumption while the extras were, given in sacrifice to the gods. Seems like ancient man had this idea where once we had the fire, it was a game changer.
Yeah, it was basically pretty awesome.
I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that's presented in the book here. Because, for example, we also can't digest certain plant fibers, pass through our guts, and we can't absorb a lot of nutrients without animal fats or animal products. So I don't know about all that.
He goes into that later, considering when we interbreed with Neanderthals, that kind of helps us evolve better to be meat eaters, as well as possible genome alteration to help us adapt and live on Earth better. But that's later. I covered this stuff in better detail overall through the entire thing. He even goes in the book that there's questions about all this in the book. I just put the juicy stuff. But I mean, obviously we have been eating meat for a hell of a long time now, right? Who doesn't love a good burger? But we're still not that effective at it. It does give us huge boosts of energy and protein that is not easily replicated on a vegetarian diet. It was also very useful to our ancestors who were in dire states of survival. So I'm not trying to say it was a negative thing, just that it was not part of our original evolutionary process, and our bodies were objectively herbivores, backed up by irrefutable evidence.
I've been waiting to refute it because it seems like in this example there are only two extremes, and that's herbivore or carnivore, and we're neither herbivore nor carnivore. We can be naturally classified as apex omnivores, as we do have both canines and molars and are able to digest both meats and plant matter. We have the enzymes to digest meat, even some raw meats, and we've done so for a very long time. Obviously, cooking meat helps to diminish bacteria, but we can still eat raw beef. And before agricultural production, we still did both as hunters and gatherers. And it's kind of like beggars can't be choosers. Apex omnivores are essentially adept opportunists, and we've been that way for a long time.
The first signs of butchering animals is found through archaeology all the way back super far, 2.5 million years ago. However, archaeologists of the mainstream paradigm state humans were not around until 300,000 years ago. So who the hell was butchering animals a million years ago?
It was the Kool-Aid Man.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh no! We will get to that mystery later. You just have to be patient.
Are you just talking about modern humans? Because hominids have been around for significantly longer than 300,000 years.
One source I found said that modern humans really only go back 40,000 years.
Australopithecus goes back like 3 million years.
I'm talking about hominids. The thing is that I don't really know of any hominins butchering animals in the way that this was seen like millions of years ago. But it was probably a hominin. There's so much we don't know, and so many that were wiped out and extinct before we even could historically categorize them or find anything about them. And most likely humans started eating meat like the day we arrived on Earth, basically out of necessity. When we, according to this narrative, we could speculate that the plants on Earth did not offer us the same nutrition as the plants from where we came from. So eating meat had to happen, or we'd be too weak to survive in the harsh wilds of Africa.
Is it possible the plants from whence we came tasted like beef jerky?
Sign me up.
Yes, it was either beef jerky or it was like nachos. It could also be that the plants on Earth are just fine on nutritional level, but they're just gross to us. Unlike the plants from where we came from, which were donuts. It's also likely that humans saw hominins eating meat and copied them.
Go.
You say yum yum?
Yummy. Bacon good.
Monkey see, monkey do, right?
There are also many more scientific and biological factors that put humanity in the herbivore camp that I could go into, but I think you get the points. If you want to go in deeper, go check out the book. The diet on Earth just isn't the original diet that our bodies evolved to consume. Fruit is good too, but it actually rots our teeth in excess. So the argument is, how could humans have come into being through natural selection on a planet where natural healthy foods rot our teeth? The sun actively harms us. The oxygen damages our lungs. Our bodies don't work right. The food doesn't match up to our biology. We suffer more afflictions than any other species on the planet, and basically every bacteria and virus is out to get us.
I think, again, that a predisposition to medical issues is also in that camp of medical issues that we decided to play God with instead of the injured dying. Instead of the injured dying, we started pulling teeth. We also started making things like breads and producing even basic foods that have damaging effects.
Good point. A study found widespread tooth decay in early hunter-gatherers, with evidence showing that they would have been in constant agony. So the counter that modern food and fruit and whatnot is genetically altered to have more sugar doesn't work and is easily debunked. These ancient humans just didn't have food that matched up with their biology. Our evolution would dictate that we didn't have this problem earlier in our existence. It just doesn't quite add up. So our adoption of eating meat was actually pretty advantageous, even if we were not originally meant to. The adoption of meat eating countered the inadequate diet on Earth that was basically unsuitable to us based on wherever we came from originally.
And we always inherit bias from our families. I've always heard that lectins, a sort of protein found in beans, legumes, and other foods, are harmful to humans.
Also, oxalates that are present in like leafy greens, especially cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cabbage, are apparently in large quantities are toxic to us, and we can't process them out of the body adequately.
I heard somewhere in ancient Egypt that the priest class held that beans were spiritually unclean.
Pork and beans, a huge no-no.
Yeah, some Greeks thought that too.
Seriously though, why? Can we give an honest estimate why these folks would have seen beans as unclean? Best educated guess.
They make you fart.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
What if they thought they were poo-poo?
Like literal poo-poo?
Yeah, what if they thought beans were poo-poo? Anyway.
I think that people back then were just as smart as we are now. Maybe they just were like worried about climate change and didn't want people farting. Another aspect of our biology that is perplexing is although our bodies are spot on herbivores,
Omnivores!
we do not have eyes on the sides of our heads.
Well, some of us do.
In nature on Earth, all predators/carnivores have eyes on the front of their heads, which is ideal for hunting. This evolutionary biology says that we evolved to be hunters, but not eat what we hunted, which is quite bizarre. What this odd mix actually suggests is that we evolved to hunt other humanoids or humans, but not eat them, which fits perfectly with the underlining shadow of humanity, that is violence.
You say that humans evolved to hunt other humans?
We didn't evolve to have any natural predators. We evolved to hunt each other.
No! That's actually a little creepy. We evolved to kill people and steal their broccoli shoots?
Dark, right? But that's what this research suggests. Humans are natural soldiers, and our natural predator was ourselves.
Omnivores have forward-facing eyes.
Wah, wah.
Next, this brings us to kids versus plants, and this is not nearly as cool as that sounds. The bizarre thing Well, one of the bizarre things that humanity's relationship with Earth is that our children have an adverse nature to eating vegetation. This is pretty universal. It's a universal aspect of childhood across all cultures. And it's possible that this is natural selection at work. It is a leftover of when we were dropped off on Earth around 400,000 years ago, when we were very unfamiliar with vegetation of the planet, and a lot of it was poisonous or dangerous to eat. Kids had no natural ability to discern what was okay to eat and what wasn't. And this evolutionary drive of survival is why in modern times, kids don't like vegetables, even though we are natural herbivores.
Omnivores!
I feel like our audience probably has a high incidence of vegetable and fruit lovers in the mix. I personally have always struggled with a natural aversion to fruits and vegetables, even if they taste good. I have found butter and coconut oil to be the ideal way to deal with this problem, but in terms of vegetables and fruits, well, they still kind of weird me out. I like some of them. Now, minus the spacecraft. I'd heard the prevailing thought behind this phenomena is that eating random plant matter can get you killed. And natural selection favored people who acquired their tastes for certain things through cultural exposure. Eating random plants, well, that's something the shaman does. Because you could die. You're a kid, you're like, berries. Dead.
Yeah,
kid.
either that or you're tripping balls.
Yeah, so like, it's advantageous for humans to like something after they've eaten it safely a few times, given from the tribe themselves, right? And it's sort of passed down. It's an acquired taste.
Dr. Silver then claims humans are unique on the planet because other animals naturally understand what they can eat and what they cannot eat. Like, they don't even have to worry about it. It's just natural instinct. Not humans, though. And if humans evolved on Earth, we should share this ability with the rest of the species on the planet, yet we don't. Every other animal can do this from birth with no direction. It doesn't make sense. If we were ever to return to wherever we came from, we would instinctively know what we can eat and can't eat, just as a natural part of our instincts, which would probably trip us out pretty hard.
Well, hold on. I don't think birds can digest bread very well. They love this stuff.
A lot of animals like birds, they do actually learn what they can eat through experience and from their parents. So if mom and dad have an addiction to bread, it could become a generational habit to eat bread, especially if mom and dad do it. And also, given the bread example, birds will still eat foods that can kill them. Same with other animals. Dogs will eat chocolate, for example. The difference is that those ones just die off.
So you're telling me we could sell cigarettes to pigeons?
Yes.
Well, I think
Brilliant.
They've been seen eating cigarette butts, so...
We're going to make millions.
So they could not just be smoked, but also eaten.
My possums love to eat cigarettes.
I think we really have something here.
See?
We're
They
going to
also
be
like
rich.
to drink coffee too.
I mean, most animals learn through experience or from their parents. Like, this is what we eat, this is where we eat.
The thing is, though, we're going to have to get the pigeons some jobs so they can buy our cigarettes.
Well, they can be courier pigeons.
Yes! Pigeons have had jobs for long times. That's why they're so stressed out. That's why they need our cigarettes, Mari. But if you'd like to hear the second half of Humans Are Not From Earth, where we talk about water, parasites, back problems, circadian rhythms, hungry lions, pushing babies out, why we do the violence, Earth is a prison planet. The notes just go and go. I don't really know where we'll stop. So if you want to hear the rest of this episode, please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will not only get you the extended version of this show, but all of our episodes going back before the Roaring 20s. I'll send you a 5x5 high-quality vinyl sticker of our Big Bunny Baphomet cover art, and you will get the secret keys to our Discord server, where we talk about being chased by zebras, because sometimes they get hungry, and they're opportunists. So watch out.
Make sure to come back to see why Neanderthals are dead.
And most importantly, eat carrots and shoot lasers.
Pew, pew, pew.
Pew pew.
Pew, pew.